Srimad Bhagavatam is a form of kirtan. And I was just thinking how I grew up watching Saturday morning cartoons, and now we're doing Saturday morning kirtan. So it's nice to make that transition. And I'm always very much afraid giving a Bhagavatam class at Bhakti Center. I'm currently in California, which is 3 hours ahead. And so I have to wake up a little bit early, and I'm full of anxiety because I don't know if I'm going to wake up. I've set like 3 alarm clocks. I'm making sure like whatever happens, but I'm just full of anxiety. And I think that anxiety actually wakes me up. So I'm happy to make it here through Krishna's kindness, through Krishna's blessings. Um, the feeling actually is the same feeling when I'm trying to go for a flight to some out of state place or out of country. Sometimes you have to wake up really early to catch a flight. And then it occurred to me that, you know what, Srimad Bhagavatam is the ultimate flight. And right now we're all seated on this airplane, and we're about to go and head straight to Vaikunta. So I hope everyone is strapped in tight, everyone's ready. And today we're going to discuss this really wonderful verse, which really exemplifies the Lord's kindness. So, everyone good? Thumbs up? Okay, see the thumbs. Awesome. All right. So, today's topic, I decided to call it the Lord's kindness on humankind. And it's interesting, right? We're called humankind. We're not called human angry. There's probably a reason for this. We're part and parcels of Krishna. So Krishna is the supreme kindness, and when we exemplify our full aspect of kindness, then we're really Krishna conscious at that point. And the opposite of kindness is this word that's exemplified today, which is Durga. Durga means difficulty. And you see this word Durga a lot in other Sanskrit words. You have this word Duratma. Duratma. Atma means soul, and Dur means difficult. So Duratma is a difficult soul. And the opposite of Duratma, of course, is a Mahatma. So we want to keep Duratmas far by the Dur or the door. Dur, whatever. So Duratma, who's one of the greatest Duratmas out there? You again see this word Dur, and you get Duryodhana. Duryodhana is a difficult enemy. And Dur can also be exemplified in a positive way. Rupa Goswami, he talks about 6 characteristics to Bhakti, and one of them is Sudurlabha. Does anybody know what Sudurlabha means?
Very rare.
Yeah, very rare or very difficult to achieve, very difficult to find. So dur can also be used in a positive way. And I think it's worth mentioning the other 5 characteristics by Rupa Goswami, because this is one of the main foundations to bhakti, and maybe we can just spend a few minutes talking about the other 5 characteristics. It starts with klesha agni. Klesha means miseries, and this material world is ashesha klesha. Ashesha klesha, unlimited miseries. But klesha agni, agni is fire. Klesha agni, you set fire to all your miseries. And that's what happens when you obtain bhakti. All your miseries start to slowly go away. And then the next characteristic is Shubhada. Shubhada means good fortune. And what is that good fortune? The good fortune is not a bank balance. That's not what it's talking about. The good fortune is the qualities that you obtain to become humble like a blade of grass, to become tolerant like a tree, to offer respects to others, expect none in return, and have that kindness. This is the good fortune that Bhakti is talking about. And then the third characteristic is moksha laguta krit, which means that moksha, liberation, is so insignificant to a devotee. Doesn't even care about that. He just simply wants to develop his love, simply wants to develop his heart. So this is another strong characteristic to bhakti. And then the fourth one, of course, is sudurlabha, which means it's very rarely obtained, very difficult to obtain. And for all of us on this path, we're extremely fortunate. We're extremely lucky. So we should feel extremely blessed. And then the fifth characteristic is Sandra Nanda Visheshatma. Sandra Ananda. Ananda means bliss. Sandra Nanda means supreme bliss, intense bliss. And it's mentioned in the Shastras that if you were to take all of the material pleasures of this world and you were able to put it like in a bucket, and then you were to sprinkle some impersonal Brahman effulgence feeling on top of that, meaning all the pleasures of this material world plus all of the pleasures that you obtain from merging into that oneness. And then you're able to times that by 10 million, it still would not compare to a drop of bhakti. So, how fortunate we are. And the sixth characteristic to Rupa Goswami's six characteristics of bhakti is Sri Krishna Karshini. That is the only way the soul means to please Lord Krishna. So these are the six characteristics. And again, the word dur, sudur labha, is included in a positive way. And you also see this word dur, not just in Sanskrit words, but you also see it in English words. You have the word endure. What does endure mean? Endure means to be able to take on difficulties. And we're able to take on difficulties when we have endurance. I love when Sanskrit words and English words, you're able to see that connection. It's really amazing. But that is what this purport is really highlighting today, this word Durga. And Prahlad Maharaj uh, is speaking. It's very nice every time we hear Prahlad Uvacha. And he is talking about how the Lord is Durga Pala, which means he gives protection to all of the difficulties. In second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says to Arjuna, near yoga kshema, that you should forget about all of your protection, because in the ninth chapter, what does Krishna say in the ninth chapter about protection? He says, Yogakshema Vahamyaham, that I'm going to give you protection. This doesn't mean, though, that we don't lock our doors at night or we don't put on our seatbelts. Krishna also gives us intelligence. So it's not like we just become completely blind and whatnot. We still got to use our brains. But Krishna ultimately is the supreme being that's going to give us that supreme protection. And just thinking about this Durga Pala, how Krishna always gives protection, and just kind of seeing Krishna's patterns, I think I figured something out about Krishna. And I don't know if he wants me to tell you this. I don't know if he wants me to reveal this to you guys. I know we can't figure out Krishna and all of the Naga serpents, unlimited glories, etc. But I think I figured something out about Krishna. And I'm sorry, Krishna, I just gotta say it today. Some of you guys might already know this, but Krishna seems to have this pattern. His pattern is that he likes to put his devotees in difficulty, and then he likes to go and save them. It's like he enjoys this. He enjoys throwing his pure devotees in the fire and then watching them for a little bit, and then he likes to go and get them. So let's go down the list. Let's start with Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada went through so many difficulties, and Srila Prabhupada is a pure devotee of the Lord. He started Back to Godhead magazine in 1944, but it wasn't until 1966, 22 years later, that things started to happen. And what else happened to Srila Prabhupada in his early years? In 1948, Prabhupada finished a 1,200-page manuscript of the Bhagavad Gita. And at that time, Prabhupada didn't have an iMac. He didn't have these computers. He wrote it on a typewriter. Okay, a typewriter. 1,200-page manuscript. And it got stolen. Why would Krishna do this? Why? Just think about it. Why would Krishna put Prabhupada into so much distress? I mean, it's just incredible to think about. The miseries don't stop. Prabhupada was trying so hard to get a building, so hard in India to get a building. He finally got it. He finally got a building called um, the League of Devotees. And Prabhupada was so happy to get this building. But then what happened? They took it back, turned it into a tennis club. Why would Krishna do this? Why is Krishna doing this to Prabhupada? Come on. What else happened? What else did Prabhupada have to go through? He used to approach these well-to-do homes, trying to distribute his magazines. People would shout at him. They would say, "Get away from here. We don't want this." They would yell at him. Prabhupada would sometimes wait for hours just to collect 5 paisas of donation. Um, he would distribute books in 112-degree weather, and he even once got a heat stroke. Why is Krishna doing this to Prabhupada? And this was all before stepping on that Jaladuta. And we know what happened on that Jaladuta ship. Srila Prabhupada was born. He was born a pure devotee. So why is he going through so many difficulties? So much Durga. Why? So this is something to ponder about. And I feel that a candle, when you light a candle, it shines brighter in darkness. And a story shines brighter with struggle. Krishna does this to his pure devotee to really exemplify his devotee. He wants to add supreme glory to his devotee and tell the greatest story. That kind of rhymed a little. Um, when you come to the Los Angeles temple now in New Dwarka, you walk down the corridors and you see posters, posters of Srila Prabhupada's life, posters of Srila Prabhupada's story. It's the most incredible story. when you read Lilamrita, does anybody know how many pages Lilamrita is? It's 2,500 pages on Srila Prabhupada's life. This is why Krishna puts his devotees into difficulty, because that difficulty becomes a supreme glory. And it's inspiring, it keeps us going, it keeps our faith alive. Even if we are physically right next to Krishna, physically, he's still going to put us into difficulty. Let's talk about the Pandavas, the five Pandavas, Arjuna. They're friends with Krishna. They hang out with Krishna. The five Pandavas, they had all their kingdoms taken away from them. They were exiled for 14 years. They had to fight their relatives. Why didn't Krishna just make an easy road for them? Even in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna tells Krishna that Krishna, you're Madhusudana, means you're the killer of the demons, but you're making me Yadusudana. You're asking me to kill the Yadus. You're asking me to kill my relatives. You've never even done this. Why are you making me do this? And why is Krishna putting the Pandavas into so much difficulty? Well, the Pandavas existed 5,000 years ago, and here we are 5,000 years later, still talking about them. And 5,000 years from now, February 6th, 7,021, we're still going to be talking about the Pandavas. This is why Krishna puts his devotees into difficulty. He wants to truly exemplify them in this way. And we can see other examples too, from Lord Jesus Christ, Haridas Thakur. The list really goes on. And today we're reading about Bali Maharaj, who also went into supreme difficulty. But we just read in the previous verse that when Bali Maharaj entered Sutala, he entered with full satisfaction, meaning he didn't see it as a difficulty. It's a sense of perception. It's the way that we see things that makes the difference. Lord Chaitanya has said that I do not mind my personal distress. I only wish for the happiness of Krishna. And if Krishna gets great happiness by giving me distress, then that distress is my greatest happiness. In hip hop language, this is what you call bars. That is the greatest line I've ever heard, I feel. Lord Chaitanya is talking about that my only happiness is simply to give happiness to Krishna. That's all I care about. And if he gets happiness giving me distress, then that's my greatest happiness. And this is the consciousness of the devotee. Bhagavad Gita talks about how sukha dukkha samakritva labha abalayo ajaya ajaya. Sukha dukkha samakritva. We should be sama. We should be equal in sukha and dukkha, in happiness and distress. In labha, labha means to get, or alabha, meaning you lose, or jaya, jaya means victory, or ajaya, meaning loss. We should be sama in these different aspects. And then again in 12th chapter, Krishna says, Nir mamo, nir hankara, samaduka sukashami. Nir mamo, nir means not, and mamo means mine. Nir mamo, that we do not consider ourselves anymore the proprietor. And nir ahankara, that ahankara means the ego. Nir, we don't go near our ego. Samaduka sukakshami. Again, we're how many times has Krishna said this in the Bhagavad Gita about being equipoised? It's actually one of the definitions to yoga. Because in life, everything can be removed except for one thing, which is your attitude. And the way that we respond, that determines our responsibility. That determines our ability of purification and our our consciousness level. So this is what Krishna is truly trying to teach us. And success or failure, external success or failure, that doesn't really dictate Krishna's mercy. The personality that comes to mind is Jatayu, who was actually killed uh, trying to save Krishna, trying to save uh, Sita in Lord Ramachandra's pastimes. But he died. Jatayu died. But Lord Rama personally performed Jatayu's funeral rites and personally took Jatayu back to the spiritual world. So when we talk about this word Durga Pala, that Krishna protects, what is Krishna protecting? Krishna protects our consciousness. That is the ultimate sense of protection. That is what Krishna is helping us with. And we must simply trust Krishna in that respect. They say that it's a common saying that we come into this world alone and we die alone. To me, that's the greatest lie ever told. We don't come into this world alone and we don't die alone. We come into this world with Krishna and we die with Krishna. And Krishna is always with us. Krishna is always with us. He's always in our team. And we need to trust Krishna more. To me, team, TEAM, stands for trusting each arm more. And we need to trust Krishna's arms more. We need to reach out to Krishna and know that he's there. And by having that consciousness, by having that vision to see, then we will truly be protected. Krishna will protect our vision because Krishna is everywhere. We sing every day, Bahir Nisingo Hridaye Nisingo, that he's outside and he's inside. In Sri Shopanishad, we read Tad Dure Tad Anu Antike, that he's far and he's near. Again, this word Dure, Dur, shows up again. Tad Dure Tanu Antike means he's far and near. And this vision to see Krishna everywhere, for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost in me. That is a high vision of Krishna consciousness. Uh, this example of fish is coming to mind. When you look at a fish doesn't know it's in the ocean. A fish is swimming in the ocean, but it doesn't actually know it's in the ocean. All the fish sees is eating, sleeping, mating, defending, but it's completely surrounded by water. In the same way, we're in this material world, all we see is eating, sleeping, mating, defending, but we're completely surrounded by Krishna. And having that vision uh, begins to unlock a deeper sense of Krishna consciousness. Krishna is everywhere. I feel I feel like one of the greatest nectars in life is uh, watching these Prabhupada memory videos, just hearing Prabhupada disciples talk about Srila Prabhupada. I've really made a list of nectars in this world, and this is at the top of the list. I mean, it simply does not get better than just hearing about Srila Prabhupada from his disciples. Because when you hear about them speaking about Prabhupada, you then begin to even imagine these things in your mind. It's absolutely incredible. And I was listening to one very recently, and this is in connection to what we're talking about in regards to seeing Krishna everywhere, how Krishna always protects. And Srila Prabhupada visited Melbourne, Australia in 1974, and he actually went to go visit Franciscan monks at a seminary. Srila Prabhupada is going to meet Franciscan monks at a seminary, and Prabhupada gave a class to these monks. And the class was extremely uh, integrated, it's very universal, and for the disciples that were there, they have that day etched in their mind till this day. Because what happened on that day? They said that at the end of Srila Prabhupada's lecture, one of the monks asked Srila Prabhupada, "What do you think about Saint Francis of Assisi?" And Prabhupada, like he always does, he said, "Well, what's his philosophy?" These monks said that Saint Francis saw God everywhere. Saint Francis would preach to the birds. He would call the moon his sister. He would call the sun his brother. And he would see God everywhere he went. And at this point, Prabhupada's eyes got extremely big. And he said in the most deepest way possible, "This is real God consciousness." And he went on to glorify Saint Francis to such a degree that these monks started crying. They started crying, hearing Srila Prabhupada glorify their hero. This is what's so special about Srila Prabhupada. And then at the end of that lecture, Srila Prabhupada said, "So let's all have a kirtan." And as far as I'm concerned, Krishna and Krista, it's the same word. So we will chant Hare Krishna and you chant Hare Krista. And together, let's chant together. Let's celebrate our one Lord and let's truly glorify. And these disciples of Prabhupada who were there that day, they mentioned that what they saw again during this kirtan was these monks shedding tears as they were chanting for their Lord and as everyone was chanting for their Lord. So this is so special, such a high vision, and it's a form of experiencing Krishna's kindness. Krishna always protects, and Krishna is everywhere. And even thinking about my experiences in book distribution, I can see this Durga Pala, I can see this protection of Krishna at all times and in all places. Before joining uh, and living as a brahmachari in the LA ashram, I was a music producer, and my style of making music was mixing hip hop sounds with Eastern sounds. So I would take sounds of India, take sounds from the Middle East, take sounds from Asia, and mix it with hip hop. That was my style. And then I joined the ashram and I started doing some years in intense book distribution. And today's topic is on kindness. I was actually having a problem with kindness when I was on book distribution because when security guards or police would try to stop or would try to do something, I had this mood and attitude of kind of getting in their face. And when I was disrespected by certain people on book distribution, sometimes it would lead to altercations and fights. And I just prayed to Krishna. I said, "Krishna, I can't do this. I'm a monk. I need to like be kind. I need to, I'm really praying to you, Krishna. Please remove all of this anger that I have and make me kind on books. And when you pray to Krishna, then he gives you the test. So this was the test that happened. I was on a college campus, and I approached a student, and he just looked like a normal student. And I went up to him. I said, "Hey, what's up, bro? I just want to show you this book, the Bhagavad Gita. I think you'll really like it. It's all on higher consciousness. Check it out. This is the back. Look who has read it. Please, here, see it." And he took it. It was a hardcover, and he's looking at the book. And then he begins to kind of go like this. And the book is bouncing up and down. And I don't know what was about to happen. He grips the Bhagavad Gita very tightly and then throws it full speed at my face. And immediately, well, originally, if I didn't have that prayer, something else might have happened. But when that happened, I was reminded of the prayer. And so it calmed me down a little bit. But then he began to speak, and he started saying, "You're going to go to hell. Your whole family's going to go to hell. And you deserve to be burned." And then he started to speak some more. He said, "Allah is the only God. Allah is the only way. And everyone else deserves to get their head chopped off." And I realized at this point, I was face to face with the Islamic extremist. And also on the college campus, there was a scene that was created at this point. Different students were coming out of the woodworks. They wanted to see what was about to happen. And we were surrounded by a bunch of students. So sometimes when you let go and let God, something miraculous flows. And I really feel that Krishna at that point came down and helped me speak the words that I needed to speak. So as he said all this, I said back, "Oh, you're from the Islamic culture? I actually love your culture. I think it's a beautiful culture. I actually have a nasheed on my phone." And for those of you who don't know what a nasheed is an Islamic kirtan, is an Islamic prayer. It's extremely beautiful. It's all a cappella, and it truly warms your heart just by hearing it. And the only reason why I had a nasheed on my phone was because when I was a music producer years ago, I would be mixing the hip hop sounds with the Eastern sounds. But I hadn't heard that nasheed in years, but somehow I just said it. And when I said I have a nasheed on my phone, this student was shocked. He was like, "You know what a nasheed is?" I said, "Yeah, I got a nasheed on my phone." And then I took my phone out and I said, "Look, look, listen." And I pressed play. And you can just imagine this beautiful a cappella then entered into the sky. And you hear this deep prayer on devotional service spoken in their faith. And as this music is playing, I could see the student's eyes, and he actually begins to have a tear in his eye. And then he says to me, "You're making such an effort to learn about my culture. Let me make an effort to learn about yours." And he takes the Bhagavad Gita. So again, Krishna's protection is always there. He's always guiding, he's always showing us the way, and he's helping us reach maximum Krishna consciousness uh, wherever we can. And again, devotees, dear devotees, today's topic is about Krishna's kindness. And when we speak about Krishna's kindness, we can say that his highest form of kindness is that Krishna has appeared in his holy name. And how fortunate we are in this yuga that we are in to simply be able to chant and purify ourselves to such a degree. My latest reading, and I'll conclude with this. My latest reading has been a book from a professor named Dr. Stilson Judah. Does anybody know who Dr. Stilson Judah is? Dr. Stilson Judah spent many years with the devotees. He spent many years with Srila Prabhupada. He was a professor from Berkeley, and he was trying to figure out how is it that all of these young individuals who come from very well-to-do homes, why are they leaving their homes and why are they joining the Krishna consciousness movement? And Dr. Stilson Judah was very favorable. In his book, he writes that I have profited so greatly simply by being treated like a devotee. So you can just imagine the feeling he got simply associating with devotees and Srila Prabhupada. And as you move on into the book, he writes he writes a phrase. He says, the power of the chanting should not be underestimated. And then what Dr. Stilson Judah does in the book, he takes surveys from all of the devotees and he conducts a lot of research and he's trying to figure out what made you join this Hare Krishna movement. And so today I'm going to give you the top 3 reasons. This is a research done in the 70s by hundreds and thousands of devotees, all condensed. And today we'll speak on what those top 3 reasons are. And we can use that to then really understand how we can spread this mission moving forward. It's actually an incredible book to read if we're really thinking about how to spread this mission. So the number 3 reason of how and why these devotees left what they left to join the Krishna consciousness movement was the philosophy. The philosophy truly impacted so many. But there's something else that's number 2 that was even of a greater degree of influence on these devotees. And that was the warmth and the friendliness that they experienced from the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. So that's something to really hone in on. The warmth, the kindness, the friendliness, that alone got so many people convinced of Krishna consciousness. But it's not number 1. What's number 1? We talked about philosophy. We talked about the warmth and friendliness. What is number 1? The number 1 reason why so many people joined the Krishna consciousness movement was the sound of the mantra. That is what they said. That is Krishna's kindness. That is Krishna's kindness. And we are very fortunate. And we should celebrate this mantra every single day as we do. So thank you very much. I will conclude there. Very fortunate to be here and truly honored. Hare Krishna. If anybody has comments, questions, I will answer. Hare Krishna.
Fantastic class, Prabhu. Really, really, really wonderful. Your spiritual master is empowering you in an extraordinary way. We could listen to you all day. Thank you so much.
Thank
We've
you.
had some talks on the last few days about you spoke about enduring. Of course, you've explained this very nicely already, but just to emphasize, and how enduring, you know, through difficulties is appropriate. And beyond that, just gritting your teeth and bearing it is actually thanking Krishna. And seeing Krishna's loving hand behind it, it gives us the power, the determination to endure, but we want to actually be grateful for the things that seem like difficulties. And then, like the verse says, "Tatetum nukampam shishimekam," and then and then go on in devotional service. Be grateful, thank you, Krishna, for this, and how can I serve you in this circumstance? And go on in devotional service. We're not just like dull stone, oh, happiness, distress, nothing. I'm just like a Mayavad. But we're seeing Krishna's loving hand and we're saying, Krishna, thank you. Thank you for this. And develop that reflex of being grateful for what Krishna is sending, even though it might be difficult, seem difficult, because Krishna has a good intention, like you spoke about that amazing incident with the Muslim in the book. Wow. Okay, I'll go to Prabhupada. We hope to give time for anyone else who wants to add something.
Jai, thank you.